In this video, I'm going to attempt to answer as many of your Disney or Disneyland Paris related questions. Hi everyone, how's life? I hope you're doing well. So about a week ago, I asked on Instagram if you had any questions for me to answer in regards to Disneyland Paris or any of the other Disney parks or just Disney in general, and I did not expect to receive as many questions as I did. So firstly, thank you so much if you asked a question, and if you haven't followed me on Instagram, make sure you do, because I'll be doing more questions and answers like this in the future, hopefully. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to the first question. How many days do you recommend for a DLP trip? Now this is a very good question, and my recommendation would be between 3 to 4 days is probably the best amount of days that you can do. Obviously, the more days you can do, the better, because it means you can take a more relaxed approach. But 3 days as a minimum, I think, is the best way if you want to try and do everything or as many things as possible. However, you can definitely do Disneyland Paris in just 2 or even 1 day as well if there's only some certain things that you want to do. So don't let that put you off. If you can't have 3 days in the parks, don't worry, you can still have a good time. The next question is, which is better at Halloween, Disneyland Paris or Walt Disney World? This is another good question, and I've been very lucky to have experienced both. In my personal opinion, Disneyland Paris does Halloween better because they celebrate throughout the month of October just for all the guests. You don't have to go to a specific event to experience Halloween in Disneyland Paris. They decorate Main Street USA. They normally have a Halloween cavalcade going around in the park. Sometimes they have a show as well. You can meet some of the villains, and this is just for like the regular guests. Like I said, you don't have to be paying extra for an event to go and see all these Halloween extras. Whereas in Walt Disney World, as far as I'm aware, you can only really experience Halloween to its fullest if you pay for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween or whatever it's called. And I've done that as well, and this is where it gets interesting, because from my experience, when I did Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party back in 2018, I thought that that was slightly better than the equivalent of that in Disneyland Paris, which is just a Halloween soirée that they do over Halloween time. And these are both ticketed events. So if you're comparing the ticketed events, I would say Disney World does it better. But if you're just talking about Halloween in general, in my opinion, my humble opinion, Disneyland Paris is better for it, because you don't have to be paying for an extra event to experience Halloween. And they go all out. They really, really do. It's such a fun time in Disneyland Paris over Halloween time. Next question is top 3 favorite restaurants. Now I'm presuming you mean in Disneyland Paris, and I'm just going to go with sit down restaurants, I guess. So my top 3 restaurants in Disneyland Paris in terms of sit down meals would be Chez Remy in Walt Disney Studios Park, Walt's restaurant in Disneyland Park on Main Street USA, and then my third one would be Manhattan restaurant in Disney's Hotel New York Art of Marvel. Now speaking of food, I'm honored to say that this section of the blog is kindly sponsored by HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal subscription service that basically delivers fresh ingredients to your house as many times as you want throughout the week, and for as many people as you want. You can choose how many people there are in your family and what kind of meals and recipes you would like to be ordered to you. And for somebody like me who spends so much time outside, I'm almost always in Disneyland Paris, it's made my life so much easier. This is my first time trying it. I'd heard good things about it. My brother actually tried it a few years ago and was very, very content with it, but it was my first time doing this, and I was so impressed with how the box arrived. Firstly, really nicely organized box, and then when you open it as well, the way they've laid out all the ingredients for the different recipes in the box is so well presented. It makes life so much easier, and I'm not somebody who cooks a lot. Like, I genuinely don't cook often, and HelloFresh has made my life so much easier because it really doesn't take too long to cook from the recipes that they give you, and the fact that all the ingredients just come for you, and the amount that you want as well is literally corresponding to the amount of people you have in your household. So you can choose if you want them for 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. So that means that there's not going to be so much waste either, and that's so good. This week in my box, I had 3 recipes delivered for me and my mom. One of them was a curry, one of them was some Korean tacos, and the other one was some burgers. And I decided to start with the lamb curry because I have never cooked curry before in my life, so I was so excited to try it for the first time. One of my favorite things about HelloFresh is that in the box, they put all the ingredients in different compartments. So for instance, as you can see, there's number 15 over here, and that corresponds with the lamb curry, number 15, that we're going to be cooking today. And different items again will be in different ones. For instance, this one is number 10, and that will be for the burger that we're not going to do today, but the fact that it's labeled so conveniently makes life so much easier to cook. So I'm going to open up package number 15 now, because that's the one that we're going to be doing today, the lamb curry. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've never cooked a curry before, so hopefully it should be an easy process. And yeah, as you can see here, the recipes are so easy to follow. For somebody like me who isn't really used to cooking that much, like I said, generally speaking, I don't cook often in the house. I tend to eat out a lot or order takeaways or just cook really simple things. I was so impressed at how easily I was able to follow the recipe for this awesome looking lamb curry that I was so excited to try at the end. They tell you exactly what ingredients you need, and obviously they're all in there as well for you, so you don't have to worry at all about the the sizes or how much you need of anything. And then it's just a simple matter of cooking and following the recipe. And honestly, I genuinely had so much fun doing this. It wasn't just cooking, but it was actually really fun as well. And especially for somebody like me, I couldn't believe that I was cooking something like a lamb curry that I had never in my life cooked before. I know, embarrassing. But thanks to HelloFresh, I was able to cook my first ever lamb curry, and in a very stress-free manner as well. And at the end of it, I thought it looked really good and nicely presentable as well. So there it is, the finished product over here. The serving that we had was for 2 people, so for me and my mom. And I think it looks quite similar actually to the photo. Now, so the taste is what matters, so let's have a taste and see how it's like. That was genuinely really good, and I can't believe I cooked this. This is my first time cooking curry, and somehow it actually tastes really nice, but that's because of the recipe and also all the ingredients that were sent to me in a very, very easy way. Not only did I and my mom enjoy it though, but there was some leftover for my brother as well when he got home, and he really ended up enjoying it as well.
I can taste the freshness.
So yeah, who knew? Apparently I can cook now, and I can't wait to try some of the other recipes as well in the future from HelloFresh. And if you want to try HelloFresh for yourselves as well, I do actually have a cool offer for you. So there'll be a link down below for you to get 50% off your very first box, and then 35% off your following 3 boxes. And the code to put for that is Samar50. You can see it on the screen over here. Make sure to click on the link down below and use the code Samar50 to get 50% off your first box. That is a really, really good offer. And then just try it, see what it's like, see if you enjoy cooking just as much as I did. Once again, thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this part of the video. Let's continue with the questions. The next question says, what rides should you stay clear of if you get motion sick? What a fun question to answer after all that food talk. I would say definitely Star Tours. I suffer from motion sickness, and whilst I can go on Star Tours from time to time, it depends, and I do often feel a little bit sick by the end of it. Another one would be Hyperspace Mountain. Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris is very, very fast. It goes upside down multiple times, and there's one particular section in Hyperspace Mountain that literally always makes me feel sick, but thankfully only lasts a few seconds. So despite feeling sick during those few seconds, I still tend to go on Space Mountain quite often because I just love the ride. Another one to avoid though, I would say, is Indiana Jones, but also Ratatouille in Walt Disney Studios. That can often cause some motion sickness as well. Next question says, what is your least favorite attraction at DLP? That is a good question, and I don't know, I think I would probably have to say Indiana Jones. I'm mainly basing that on how often I go on it, and I haven't been on Indiana Jones since after the pandemic. So I think the last time I was on it was in 2019 or 18, so it's been a while, whereas almost every other attraction at Disneyland Paris I have revisited ever since 2020, so clearly I just don't like it that much, perhaps. I don't know. Indiana Jones is a decent roller coaster, but I think that's just all it is. It's an alright roller coaster, but the theming isn't that great, and it's a very short ride as well, and I think weirdly it's got better theming in the queue line for it than the actual ride itself. So I personally wouldn't mind if they ever change Indiana Jones into something else, but leave your comments down and let me know what your least favorite ride is. Denise asks, a childhood memory in DLP you can still recall vividly. Now, this is a very good question. I am very, very lucky that I was able to go to Disneyland Paris quite a lot as a child because we didn't live too far from it. I used to live in Switzerland, Geneva, and my dad would just drive us there from time to time. And I think one of my favorite memories from my childhood Disneyland Paris visits is one time when I was in Disneyland Paris with my uncle and my cousin, his wife, and obviously my family as well. And we went to see Buffalo Bill's Wild West show for the very, very first time, and all of us were just blown away. It was so much fun. I remember my mom, my dad, my uncle, they all embraced it fully and would make noises with the plates and the knives and stuff. If you don't know what Buffalo Bill's Wild West show is, it used to be a dinner show that was in Disney Village, and unfortunately in 2020 with the park closures, that also closed and never came back, and it won't return unfortunately. But for anyone who has experienced it, you would know how much fun that was. You were given like cowboy hats, and there were 4 different teams, and it was just a party in a way, and it was a party atmosphere, but at the same time you were seeing a show with live animals, and you know, of course, actors, and Mickey and Minnie were involved, and there was food as well. It was so much fun, and it's one of my favorite memories from my childhood, and I'm so sad that this show no longer exists in Disneyland Paris. Next question says, best way to make the most of EMH. I've had a couple of people asking about this, and I am actually going to make a video about this the next time I'm in Disneyland Paris to show you exactly how you can make the most of extra magic time in Disneyland Paris. But it of course does depend on what you want to do and what you want to prioritize. My suggestion would be to try and get some of the rides done, especially the ones that have long queues. So what I normally do is to go straight to Discoveryland. I try and get Hyperspace Mountain done first, and then Buzz Lightyear as well. That's a ride that can normally get longer queues, you know, after Extra Magic Time. Big Thunder Mountain, if it's open, would be a great one to get done during Extra Magic Time, and some of the Fantasyland rides as well. So definitely worth going to Extra Magic Time if you have access to them. But like I said, make sure you subscribe to my channel because there will be a video coming up at some point to show you exactly how I would use my Extra Magic Time, and maybe I'll do a few different ones to show different ways that you can make the most of it as well. Here's another really good question. So Steph asks, if you could bring back any past attractions or restaurants at DLP, what would it be? I would really like to experience the original Space Mountain in Disneyland Paris, from the Earth to the Moon, because I've heard incredible things about it. I love the soundtrack to it. I've watched, you know, on-ride footage of it on YouTube so many times, and I just wish that back in my childhood years I was a bit more brave to actually go on it, because I remember when it first opened, when Space Mountain first opened in Disneyland Paris, our family went to visit not long after it had just opened, and I remember my dad and a couple of my cousins, older cousins, went on it, and I was just too scared. I was maybe about 6 or 7 years old, and I was too scared, so I never got to experience that original Space Mountain. I did get to go on it later on when it turned into Mission 2, and even Mission 2, in my opinion, is better than Hyperspace Mountain. That's just my opinion. So I would even be happy if they turned it back into Mission 2, but the best thing would be to go back to the original. Like I said, most people who have done that one say that it's the best version of any Space Mountain all round. Another attraction that I would love to see come back though is Cinemagique in Walt Disney Studios Park. Now, this closed, I want to say back in 2016 or 17, and it was such a great attraction. It was like a show or a film that literally went through the history of movie, cinema, and film, and it was so much fun. It was such a cool, unique attraction to Disneyland Paris, and it made so much sense to keep it there because Walt Disney Studios is all about productions and TV making and movie stuff. And I do understand that in recent years the theming of Walt Disney Studios Park is starting to change, and it's turning more and more into like a Pixar, Marvel land rather than its original theming of cinema. But Cinemagique really did have a special place in my heart, and I would love to know if any of you got to experience it back in the day as well. Oh yeah, and in terms of restaurants, 100% Pizza Planet. There used to be a Pizza Planet in Discoveryland in Disneyland Park, and it was one of my favorite places to eat as a child, and I'm so sad that it no longer exists. There's another good question here. So Laura asks, if you could meet any character that doesn't exist for a meet and greet yet, who would it be? Wow. That is a tough one. I think I would really like to meet Louisa from Encanto. Maybe I'm just thinking of more like recent films. I know you can meet Mirabelle in Disneyland California. I would love to meet Mirabelle as well if they brought her over to Disneyland Paris. But yeah, I really like Louisa. I think she's such a cool, unique character. Next question asks, what is the best Disney parade you have seen? Now that is another good one, and I think there's quite a few good ones, but if we put Disney's Main Street Electrical Parade out of the way, because that is my ultimate favorite Disney parade of all time, it just brings back so many good memories for me. In terms of day parades, there was a parade called Disney's Imaginations Parade in Disneyland Paris. It was a very short-lived parade. It was only on for a few years, but it had one of the best parade songs ever, in my opinion. It's basically the All Around the World song. So all around the world, da, 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 da. I can't sing, I don't know the lyrics, but it was such a good wholesome parade and wholesome song as well. And again, it brings back so many childhood memories for me. So check it out on YouTube if you wish to. I loved the floats in that parade. They were so cool, extravagant, and huge in many ways. And I love the fact that they were trying to kind of celebrate the different nations. And like I said, the song was just so good. But another one would be for the 5th birthday of Disneyland Paris. They had a special Hunchback of Notre Dame parade that again was so cool. Hunchback of Notre Dame, if you didn't know, is one of my favorite Disney films, and to have a whole kind of parade or cavalcade dedicated to it was awesome. Again, I would recommend you checking out some YouTube videos of it if you want to see what it was like, but I loved it. I've had a few people ask if I would do some sort of meetup at Disneyland Paris, and the answer to that is I would love to, yes, for sure. I'm not really sure how I would go about it though, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any ideas of how I should do this, or if any particular times you think would be best to do, let me know in the comments down below and I'll consider doing it. Decca Michelle asks, what is the best way to survive a rainy Disneyland Paris day? And I've had a couple of questions about this as well. Do a rainy day video as the other one here. So again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because next time it rains in Disneyland Paris, I will be sure to film a video about all the cool things that you can do even when it's raining. But in short, I would say there are loads of walkthrough attractions in Disneyland Paris, such as Aladdin's Passageway or Nautilus in Discoveryland, or some of the shows as well, like the Lion King show, Mickey and the Magician in the Studios Park. These are all some really good options for you to do when it's raining outside. Is a Disneyland Paris annual pass worth it? For me, it definitely has been. I've been an annual pass holder since 2015, so this is my 7th year of being an annual pass holder at Disneyland Paris, and I feel like I've saved a lot of money by being an annual pass holder. But then again, I'm somebody who goes to Disneyland Paris very regularly, and I tend to, go to the restaurants quite often as well, so the annual pass discounts really help. But I think it's a very good question actually, because I don't think a Disneyland Paris annual pass is for everyone. Even if you go to Disneyland Paris often, sometimes it might be best to just book it directly through Disney and not use an annual pass. I myself myself didn't buy an annual pass straight away. So if you've watched my channel for a long time, you can see that even back in like 2012, 2013 and 14, I used to visit Disneyland Paris often, and I didn't have an annual pass back then. I would just use the offers that they would have on the actual official Disneyland Paris website. And I didn't just jump into getting myself an annual pass because, like I said, back in the days especially, some of the offers on the website were actually better for the types of trips that I was doing. So definitely do your research. Again, I will do a video about this in detail as well coming up at some point. This question makes me laugh. This one says, why don't you like Ariel? So if you've been a long-term viewer of my channel, there's been this inside joke for quite a while now that I don't like Ariel, and it's true. I'm not a fan of Ariel, to be honest. I find her just way too naive. I think she's a little bit dumb. I think her decision making is a little bit problematic. I mean, leaving your whole life, your whole family, your friends and everything, giving up your voice for some man that you've just met is a little bit questionable in my opinion. So that's my main problem with Ariel. I just don't think she's the best role model. I would love to meet the girl once and just like properly have a chat to her, maybe like a meeting, and just be like, Ariel, why did you do that? You know, I know Eric is a beautiful man, he is, but you didn't really know him when you first decided to give all this up. And I don't know, that's basically the reason I don't like her. But it's become like a love-hate relationship now because I don't actually hate the girl, you know. Ariel, I wish I could give her some advice for better decisions in the future, that's all. I love Little Mermaid though. I think it's a fantastic film. Would you go on a Disney cruise? I don't think I've seen you go on one before. Now this is another good question. I have actually been on one Disney cruise before. It was one of the UK Disney cruise staycations that they had going on last year in 2021, and I do have a short vlog series from that as well, which I will link down below if you want to check it out. And if you watch those vlogs, you'll see that I did have a good time. I had a really fun time on that staycation Disney cruise, but I didn't fall in love with Disney cruises the way a lot of other Disney fans seem to have fallen in love with it. I do want to give a Disney cruise one more shot because obviously this was a staycation cruise, so we didn't actually go anywhere. So I might do another short Disney cruise in the future just to see what it's like, you know, in typical ways, because again, last year with like COVID restrictions and stuff, it was a little bit different. It wasn't the typical normal Disney cruise experience. You couldn't meet characters properly. A lot of the experiences were modified. So I'm still open to doing another short Disney cruise at some point if it's not a very long one and if it's not a very expensive one. But overall, I have to say from my one experience, if I had to choose between going on a Disney cruise or to a Disney theme park anywhere in the world, I think I would always choose to go to a Disney theme park. Oh, this is a lovely question. Well, not really a question, but it says, we love you in our house, Sam, watching all the vids before our trip on June the 16th, and that means a lot to me. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an incredible time when you go. Ellie asks, hello, any idea when Disneyland Hotel is reopening? Thank you. So for those of you who might not know, the Disneyland Hotel, which is the official entrance of Disneyland Park in Disneyland Paris, has been going under renovations for the past year or so, I want to say, and it's a huge renovation situation. So in my opinion, I don't think it will be reopening until 2024 at the earliest. I feel bad for saying it. I know a lot of people want to kind of, you know, see it open again. I do miss it myself because even though I've only stayed in the Disneyland Hotel a few times, the reception area of the Disneyland Hotel, the lobby, would be somewhere that I would, you know, visit frequently. On most of my trips, I would just go to the lobby for a while, maybe get myself a hot chocolate from Cafe Fantasia in one of the restaurants there, and it was just a really nice place to sit down for a while. So I am as desperate for it to reopen as you are, but I just don't see it reopening until 2024. So I think it's still got quite a long way to go. I don't think Disney even know exactly when it's going to be reopened again, but I wouldn't bet on it opening next year. 2024 is my best bet. What would you love to see at Disneyland Paris that they have in another park? That is another good question, and I think my answer would be Flight of Passage. I absolutely love Flight of Passage in Disney World's Animal Kingdom. I think it's one of the best rides ever made. But even if it's not Flight of Passage, I feel like Disneyland Paris lacks an attraction that is similar to that. So even something like Soarin' that, you know, Disneyland has, as well as Walt Disney World and Shanghai also has that. Something that just makes you feel like you're flying and going on an adventure without it being too intense would be really cool to have in Disneyland Paris. Or Toy Story Mania. I adore Toy Story Mania, and I just don't understand why we don't have it in Disneyland Paris. Considering we have a Toy Story Playland, I think it would be so perfect to have that attraction here. I find it so much more fun and easier than the Buzz Lightyear ride in Discoveryland. So yeah, Toy Story Mania would be another one that I would love to see in Paris. Next question says, favorite song from a Disney movie? And for me, that would have to be Colors of the Wind from Disney's Pocahontas. I absolutely adore this song. I think it's one of the best songs ever written, not just Disney songs, but just in the history of music. It's such a beautiful song. The lyrics really speak to me. The melody is beautiful. Alan Menken is just a genius. I try and live my life by the words that is spoken in Colors of the Wind, and that's why I love Pocahontas as well. Have another lovely question here as well. Not a question, but I'm so glad that I found your account. You're just a happy soul and light of my day. Oh, thank you so much. That really makes my heart happy. Next question says, where do you get all your fun t-shirts that aren't sold at the parks shop Disney? Now I'm assuming you mean the ones that that have loads of like prints on them. So I've got a few of those. There's one with like Monsters Inc. characters that I tend to wear quite often, one with Disney princesses. I love them. I love being quite extra and having loads of Disney prints on my t-shirts. And most of them I get from a website called Very Nico. So I'll leave the link down below. I do actually have a code as well, which will give you a bit of a discount. So if you want to check it out, there's an affiliate link, which just means that I'll get a little bit of money if you purchase anything from it, but that's all it is. And you can get a discount as well if you use my code. I love Very Nico. They're a great bunch of people and they have some really cool t-shirts on their website as well as lounge flyers. I've had a couple of people asking about the Disneyland Paris disability pass over here, and I'm actually very, very happy to announce that one of my lovely followers has offered to help me film a video all about the disability pass in Disneyland Paris. So that's something that will be coming up very, very soon as well. I want to say in the next couple of months you should see a video all about how to use this pass in Disneyland Paris. Sam Forgot Fan Aesthetics, and thank you so much by the way for creating this account, asks, what's your favorite Disneyland Paris show? Now that's an easy one. If we can count nighttime shows in this question as well, I would have to say Disney Dreams. Disney Dreams was a fireworks nighttime show that came to Disneyland Paris for the 20th anniversary of the parks back in 2012, and it's the best show, easily the best Disney show I've seen in any of the Disney parks worldwide. I really wish they would bring it back. Catherine asks, when is your favorite time of year to visit Disney? Now if we're talking Disneyland Paris, it would have to be Christmas time. The Christmas season at Disneyland Paris is one of my absolute favorites. The atmosphere is excellent. The fact that it's cold as well, it just brings the magic so much in my opinion, and Main Street USA looks beautiful. All the Christmas shows, yeah, Christmas would be my favorite probably. Next question asks, can you do a video all about Adventureland, the caves, bridges, etc.? And yes, that video will be coming at some point in 2022. I'm making my way through the lands at the moment in Disneyland Paris. I've already done a video all about Discoveryland where I do literally every single attraction in Discoveryland, as well as the shops and the restaurants as well. So I'll leave the link to that down below. But yeah, I've got another one coming up very, very soon all about Frontierland, and Adventureland will hopefully be next on my list of videos to film. Speaking of lands, Jamie asks, how would you rank the lands at Disneyland Park in Paris from least favorite to best? This is a difficult question because I genuinely love every single land in Disneyland Park, but I think I might actually have to put Adventureland as my least favorite land. I just tend to spend the least amount of time in Adventureland for some reason. Don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love it. One of my favorite rides ever is in Adventureland, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's a beautiful land with all the extra things that you can do. But I guess I just love the other lands a little bit more. So I'd put Adventureland at the bottom. Then I would probably put Discoveryland, because Discoveryland, especially in the night during the darkness, is so beautiful with Space Mountain and Orbitron. It just looks so cute. Next, I would probably put Frontierland. I think Frontierland has probably the best restaurants, the best food, and some of the best rides as well. Then as my second favorite, I would have to put, of course, Fantasyland. Fantasyland in Disneyland Park is stunning. It's such a beautiful land. It's got so many incredible rides as well, and it's just really cute. It's a stunning land in my opinion, the way they've laid it out. And then my favorite land, and I'm not sure if you can really count it as a land, but I'm gonna count it as a land, would have to be Main Street USA. Main Street USA in Disneyland Park, when you walk towards the castle with all the shops around it, with the arcades as well, Liberty Arcade and Discovery Arcade, is genuinely my favorite place to spend some time in Disneyland Paris. Next question says, most overrated thing at Disney, and this might be a bit controversial, but Starbucks. Starbucks, in my opinion, just in all Disney parks, is way too overrated. I don't understand the fascination with it. It's not really even a thing in the Asian parks at all. In the American parks, though, people tend to love Starbucks, and I personally just don't get it. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a good Starbucks coffee as much as the next person, but when I'm in Disney, it's not my priority ever, and I just don't understand the obsession with it. I find it overrated. I don't understand why it has to be this big thing when you go to Disney parks. There are so many other cool things that you can try, different snacks, different drinks, so why would you even want to constantly go to Starbucks? But yeah, that's just my opinion. A lot of people would disagree with this, but yeah, there you go. We've got a few more questions to go through. I know this video has been quite long already, but this one I thought was quite interesting from Neve, and it says, do you think Disneyland Paris was better 10-15 years ago, or is it better now? My nostalgic heart wants to say that it was better back in the day, so like 10-15 years ago, but in many ways it is better now. I mean, just look at the snack game, look at the vegan options that they have available now that they definitely did not have available in the parks 10-15 years ago. The new upcoming Avengers Campus expansion is definitely going to be a good highlight for Disneyland Paris. So I think overall, yes, Disneyland Paris is becoming better every year, but in terms of my preference, do I prefer it now or back in the days? I don't know. I feel like 15 years ago, things were just so different in the world, and Disneyland Paris's attractions, the way they did things was very different. 10 years ago was when Disney Dreams first became a thing, and as I mentioned earlier, that's my favorite nighttime show of all time. So yeah, it's a hard one. It really really is. I think at the end of the day though, Disneyland Paris now is probably better, let's be real. I'm always going to have a lot of love and a special place in my heart for the Disneyland Paris of the past, but I can't deny that Disneyland Paris has been progressing a lot in the recent years, and I can't wait to see its future. But that was a really, really good question. Thank you for asking. Oh, this is a Walt Disney World question. I like that. Least and most favorite country in Epcot, so the different country pavilions, and that's quite a difficult one as well. My favorite country pavilion in Walt Disney World's Epcot is probably either Morocco or Mexico. I also really like Norway though. These three are probably the pavilions that I spend the most time in when I visit Epcot. And my least favorite, again, it's a really hard one, but I think the one that I've spent the least amount of time in, generally speaking, is either America or Canada as well. I very, very rarely spend like a lot of time in Canada. And same with the UK pavilion. Like, I don't know if it's just because I live in the UK myself, but for some reason, normally by the time I get to UK, because I normally go from Mexico, I'm just not as bothered anymore. So I just normally just walk through it without paying too much attention to the details of it. But I'd love to know your thoughts. What's your favorite pavilion and what's your least favorite in Epcot? And finally, for the last question of this video, Mana Anime Figures asks, have you been to every Disney resort yet? Which is your favorite so far? The first answer is no, unfortunately I haven't. There's only one Disney resort that I haven't been to yet, and that's the one in Tokyo, Japan. I was actually meant to go to that in 2020, but of course we all know what happened with that. But I've been to all the other ones, so Hong Kong, Shanghai, Disneyland California, and Walt Disney World, and of course Paris. And of all the ones that I've been to, my favorite is definitely still Paris. It just holds a special place in my heart. It's the one that I went to first, and obviously the most as well. And I genuinely do think it's the most beautiful of all of them. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all the questions that you asked. I hope I managed to answer your question, but like I said, I did get way too many questions that would have been possible to film in just one video. But make sure you are following me on Instagram, because I'll be doing more of these videos in the future, hopefully. Sorry if the lighting's been changing throughout the videos, because I decided to, for some reason, film this video whilst the sun was setting. So I hope that wasn't too distracting. Thank you so much for all the love and support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.